Today we are going through all 30 combat manuals you can purchase with the new Compile Combat Manuals feature in Update 4.3. We will also look at the 7 limited time combat manuals for this month. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, please watch my previous video on this topic first. We covered the basics of this new feature, including what a path is, how many divine codes you get, and what ephemera divine codes are. In this video, we're going to look at every single combat manual and talk about what fodder skills are worth getting and how to make sure you get the most value out of your divine codes. Throughout, I have listed prerequisite skills that you can grab from 3 to 4 star units so that you can then get the higher level versions of skills from these combat manuals. Reminder that you can take 4 skills when inheriting, and the first merge you give to a unit gets rid of all banes, so if you have someone here you like, you could use them for that instead. Let's get started.
You think this outfit looks good on me? I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Starting things off, we have the Hero's Path. First is Spring Alphonse, who used to have some pretty rare fodder, but much of it has become available on lower rarity summonable units. His Giant Spoon Plus is the same as the Wogun Axe Libra has, and it grants plus 10 damage on special triggers. Really the only reason to steal it is because you want to hit people with an egg glued to a spoon. You can grab the Giant Spoon and Giant Spoon Plus along with either Sturdy Blow 1 and 2 or Defense Smoke 2 and 3. For Defense Smoke you can just get the full 3 levels from Wrath though, so not a huge must get here. Next is Ogre, who is the only source of Sorcery Blade. This skill grants adaptive damage if the user is next to a mage ally. Gotta be honest, Sorcery Blade never really took off. It's neat, but there is a C skill called Infantry Hex Blade that does a similar thing, but it's for the mage to use to buff any infantry ally with adaptive damage. Besides Sorcery Blade, you got Chill Speed or Speed Tactic. Unfortunately, we can't really cheat too much on these skills, very niche case, but if you use New Year's Air to give someone the Tamari Dagger, you could have also passed on Speed Tactic 1 and 2. If you did that, you could use Ogre to pass on Speed Tactic 3 in all 3 levels of one of these other skills. Third, we have Spring Bruno, who has the Avoid Staff, which is really neat, and I kinda wish became a summonable weapon. It heals the user and any adjacent allies for 7 health every turn, kinda similar to the Heron Dancer's ability, but it heals the user as well. Unfortunately, if you take both levels of Avoid Staff, we cannot also inherit Attack and Defense Push 3 or Dazzling Staff 3. You could inherit Martyr 3 with all 3 levels of either skill though. Dazzling Staff 3 is definitely valuable to combo with Wrathful Staff. Our fourth choice is New Year's Fjorm. Kabura Ya Plus is a chill speed bow, which is pretty cool, but again, we cannot cheat too much on this one. You could steal Attack and Speed Bond 1 and 2 from Bridal Louise, but she's a heroic grail unit. You could just steal the basic Kabura Ya, but most people aren't going to want to do that. Most common scenario, you either take the 2 levels of the bow and whatever else you want, or you just take all 3 levels of Attack and Speed Bond, Attack and Speed Link, or even Res Wave. Last we have Summer Levantine, and finally we can score some good value here. Only costs 6,000 divine codes to get here, oof. First off, her buoy board grants plus 4 attack and res if the user has a field buff on them, very simple effect. If you want this weapon, we can also get Mirror Impact, which is the big ticket skill here. To do so you need Mirror Strike 1 and 2, which can be gotten from Oliver. He is a heroic grail unit, but his beautiful sacrifice is worth it if you aren't using him. If you don't want the buoy board, then take Mirror Impact and all 3 levels of Defense and Res Link or Odd Attack Wave. You're still going to need Mirror Strike 1 and 2 though, but you can score 2 full level skills.
Huh? Don't be such a Tobin. If you're bored, why don't you try studying? It'll sharpen your wits.
Our second path is Mystery in Shadows. First is Bridal Sheila, whose only real worthwhile skill is the Blessed Bouquet. This weapon gets changed when you refine it, so after that, its actual effect becomes if unit attacked, grants defense and res plus 5/2 unit, and allies within 2 spaces. Maybe an interesting weapon for a wind or water sweep build, or if you can tag a melee enemy, but otherwise this weapon doesn't do anything during the first fight. Besides Blessed Bouquet, attack and res plus 2 is the next rare skill here. Next up is Celica. Main skill is definitely Distant Defense 3, and you may as well take Spur Defense 3 if you want. Not a rare skill, but you could snag its prerequisites from some 3-star units. Blazing Light is kind of a rarer AoE special, but it has a diagonal pattern. Most AoE special users opt for Blazing Wind for its more consistent adjacent tile pattern. Third is Picnic Jenny. Her Toasty Skewer is a fun looking staff, and if a foe initiates combat against an ally within 2 spaces of unit, grants defense and res plus 3 to that ally. Basically, it's a combination of Distant Guard and Close Guard, however it only works in the enemy phase. Still, it's a nice supportive staff, and someone gets some nice marshmallows. Now if you inherit the 2 levels of Toasty Skewer, you can also steal Fire Flood Bomb Plus. I know these aren't super popular, but global buffs is pretty sweet, and I'm still advocating that a Times Pulse healer with these skills would be a lot of fun. To get Fire Flood Bomb, you need Kindled Fire Bomb from Alyssa or Still Water Bomb from Sakura or Priscilla. Same as with Spring Bruno, if you instead want Wrathful Staff 3 or Defense Opening 3, you can't take the full Toasty Skewer. You can pass on Physic Plus though. Fourth is Spring Paula. Her Pegasus Carrot Plus dagger is very unique. It's effective against armors, and if you have the weapon triangle advantage, you neutralize effects that stop follow-up attacks. Basically, Spring Paula was supposed to be a counter to Surtur. Interestingly, it also disables any follow-up penalties the user inflicts on themselves, which means it can work with Wind or Water Sweep. That only applies if you have triangle advantage though. It's the same idea behind why Violet's Creator's Sword can use Wind or Water Sweep but still double. Back to Paula, if you inherit the carrot, you might as well steal Swift Sparrow 1 and 2 as well. Super easy to do, you only need either Darting Blow 1 or Death Blow 1, and we have many sources of those. If you don't want either of those skills, Paula has Disarm Trap. This is a dagger only skill that neutralizes any trap tiles in Aether Raids. If you take all 3 levels, you can also take Hone Flyers, which is a rarer Flyer Emblem buff as well. Last up is Cliff, and his big ticket skill is Fortress Defense and Res 3. Very popular A skill for its big flat defense and res boost. Not really a way to get it along with another full skill. Only other thing here is Chill Speed 3, and that can be taken with Fortify Res 3 or Growing Light. Chill Speed is fine, but you definitely go for Cliff if you need Fortress Defense and Res 3.
If my love for Deirdre is a crime, please punish me, and only me.
Starting us off in the Holy War path is Leaf. Unfortunately, you cannot steal his S-Strength B skill, so we're left with Steady Blow and Drive Attack. You either need Armored Blow 1 or Darting Blow 1, but that is super easy to get from a ton of 3 stars. Drive Attack also requires Spur Attack 1, but that's another easy pickup. The Holy War path does not offer any inheritable weapons, so it's a pretty simple rundown. Deirdre doesn't really give much of a choice either. You can nab Quick Repose 3 and Speed Ploy 3. You will need Quick Repose 1 and 2, but both Klein and Tsubaki can get you that without needing to 5-star them. Third, we have Sigurd. Can't take Crusader's Ward either, so we're left with Speed Smoke and Close Defense. For this one, you don't really need to grab both. Speed Smoke 3 can be gotten from 4-star Chad, so you're probably just going to pass along all 3 levels anyway. Fallen Takumi can be used, but he is a Grail unit. That pretty much just leaves us with Close Defense 1, 2, and 3. Fourth on the list is Lewin, and I would say everyone is going to use him for Special Spiral. Special cooldown reduction is too good to pass up on. Unfortunately, you can't really pass on Special Spiral 1, 2, and 3 plus another full skill. The closest you can get is Swift Sparrow 2 if you use 4-star Nasala for Swift Sparrow 1. Not exactly the greatest idea, but I guess it's an option. If you for some reason don't want Special Spiral, you can instead grab Auto Attack Wave 1, 2, and 3. Last we have Dancer Ishtar, and she brings with her Swift Sparrow 3. If you just want that skill, you only need to grab Darting Blow 1 or Death Blow 1 to inherit Swift Sparrow 1, 2, and 3. That then leaves you room to grab Desperation 3 as well. If you have a spare Mei, she has Desperation 2 at 4 stars, and you won't have to use a Shauna. Now if you want to give Swift Sparrow 3 to a flyer, I would recommend trying to get Air Orders as well. This skill buffs adjacent flyers with the ability to move next to any ally within 2 spaces, mainly would be used on a flyer emblem team, and boy these skills are tricky when you face them in PvP. Not a must-have skill, but it's pretty rare, and you already spent 6,000 Divine Codes to get to this point. You would need Swift Sparrow 1 and 2 already on a unit, but you can use Nasala or one of the 19 other 5-star units who come with that skill.
What would I like? Well, I guess, maybe a bite to eat, or a good weapon.
The fourth path is called Blades and Sacred Stones. First is Valentine's Elena, who has the Green Gift Plus tome. It has built-in Dull Range 3, which neutralizes field buffs when fighting ranged foes. Not the best, not the worst effect out there. If you do inherit it, you can also grab HP and Attack 2. That requires HP plus 3 or Attack plus 1, but super easy to find those on many 3-star units. Unfortunately, you cannot grab Attack Tactic 3 with either of these skills. It is on 4-star Legault now though, so not too much pressure to use Lelena for it. Next we have Amelia. She does come with a Slang Axe plus hiding behind her unique weapon, so you could use her for that if you don't want to spend feathers on another unit. Otherwise, Amelia's main skill will be Armor March. Great skill for offensive armor tactics, and it can be useful to have on certain armor units. If you want to grab Earth Boost 3 with it, Bowie has Earth Boost 1 and 2 at 4 stars, maybe we'll get tier 4 boost skills one day. For flying Nino, we have Swift Sparrow 2 and Speed Smoke 3 again, but a new skill is Aerobatics. Can be a fun mobility skill for flyers, but there are plenty of strong B skills, and it's a sacred seal now. If you do want Aerobatics 3, you can't do much to grab anything else except Moonbow or Speed Smoke 3. Again, not really worth it since Chad already has that level 3 version at 4 stars. If you just want Swift Sparrow 2, then consider grabbing Moonbow as well if you plan to use it. Fourth, we have Winter Ephraim. Unless you want to combine these skills with Dragon Fang, all of Ephraim's skills are going to take up too much space. You can't use any easy to find prerequisites. That means you can pick one of Attack and Defense Solo, Bold Fighter, or Close Guard. Bold Fighter is probably the best option here because of just how powerful it is, but you pick the one you want. Last, we got Valentine's Hector. He has Distant Counter. End of story, drop the mic. Is 6,000 total Divine Codes worth Distant Counter? I mean, probably to someone, yeah. It's just such a fun skill to slap on your favorite melee units so they can go out there and fight anyone. If any path is going to be completed with that 6,000 Divine Codes, this one will probably be the most popular.
If you have some time, would you join me for a dance?
The fifth path is titled Radiance. You could say it's the Path of Radiance. First combat manual available is Leanne. She has Hone Beast, and Beast teams are really good because they can transform while next to each other. It's an easy skill to get to since you can first get Hone Attack 1 and 2 or Hone Speed 1 and 2. Lots of 3 to 4 star units have either of those buffs. With Hone Beast, you can then grab Flyer Formation 1, 2, and 3. If it's a non-flying unit, then you can get Mirror Stance 2 and all its prereqs. Next is Dancer Elincia. She has the Cloud Myogi Plus dagger. It's effective against dragons and has Hardy Bearing built in. Very neat dagger. If you want to pass it along, you can also inherit Drive Res 1 and 2. For that prereq, it's just Spur Res 1, which is on Eliwood or Merrick, and more. If you don't want the Cloud Myogi, there is Attack and Speed Push 3 or Rock Slide Dance 2. Unfortunately, you need 3 spaces for those skills. Just a warning that Attack and Speed Push 3 is vastly different than Attack and Speed Push 4. The Tier 4 version is just way better. Third, we have Leith, who is the other holder of Hone Beast. You can pass that along with Speed Defense Solo 1, 2, and 3. Not a lot to say on this one, it's pretty straightforward. Fourth is a really fun one, Bridal Tanith. She has the Lofty Blossoms Plus, which is a lance with built-in Swift Sparrow 2. She also comes with Swift Sparrow 2, and as we have already discussed, you just need Darting Blow 1 or Death Blow 1 as a prerequisite. That means we can pass along both Lofty Blossoms Plus and Swift Sparrow 2. For example, I mentioned giving this lance to Ferdinand if you want a more offensive speed build. Besides Swift Sparrow, there is also Harsh Command Plus, which is still very hard to get, so you may want this instead. You could do Lofty Blossoms Plus, Harsh Command Plus, and Fortify Flyers just for flair. If you want Chill Attack, you need 3 spaces, so that definitely would only work with Harsh Command Plus or Fortify Flyers. Lots of good skills here. Tanith definitely is worth her weight in Divine Codes. Last, we got Valentine's Grail. He has the Faithful Axe Plus, which grants +3 to all stats if adjacent to an ally. Basically, it's a bond type effect. We can pick up some top tier stuff along with this axe. You can get both Aether and Fury 4. Aether needs Luna or Soul already there, and Fury 4 obviously needs Fury 3. If you don't have a spare 4-star Hinata, I would consider 5-starring a Bartray or Jagan. While Fury and Aether aren't exactly the greatest skills together, it's just nice to have both. Now if you want to instead grab Arbor March 1, 2, and 3, then you would be able to choose between Aether or Fury 4.
The blood of heroes courses through our veins. It draws us together, binding us to one another in... Hey, come back! I didn't finish my speech!
The sixth path of pain is apparently Awakening and Fates. Starting with Summer Cordelia, we have the Shell Lance Plus. This grants +2 to all stats on initiations. Not quite Swift Sparrow, but a more balanced offering. If you grab the Shell Lance, you can also get Sturdy Blow 1 and 2. That just requires Armored Blow 1 or Death Blow 1. Otherwise, you can get Doe Close. You can get Sturdy Blow 1 from 4-star Athena if you also want to tag on Sturdy Blow 2. Second, we got Fallen Male Robin, aka Male Grima. Grima has Vengeful Fighter, and at only 1200 total Divine Codes, this is a pretty cheap way to get this skill, all things considered. Maybe you want to slap it on your Flame Emperor. Besides that, you can also get Ward Dragons. I run into many disgusting tanky dragon teams, so that would be a great skill for those. If you have an armored dragon like Grima, then you get the best value since you can grant both of these skills. Ward Dragons just requires Spur Defense 1 and 2 or Spurred Res 1 and 2. Very easy to find on some 3-star units. Our third unit is Owain, and oh boy, he might just be one of the best available combat manuals here. First off, he has Wrath, and for most people that's a very valuable skill. Tag and Defense Bond is nice, but I'm gonna say Wrath is more game changing for a build. Not only does Owain have Wrath, but he has the Blue Flame special, the only unit with this inheritable special in the game. Normally it just deals 10 damage flat on a 3 cooldown, not that amazing. However, if the user is next to any ally while it activates, it instead deals 25 damage. That is equivalent to a 50 defense bonfire. Very cool special. It's been a long time, but some people still think Blue Flame deals true damage. It does not, but I still gotta say it. Now luckily, Blue Flame just requires Bonfire as a prereq, and you can grab that from 4-star Male Robin or Adult Tiki. It is 100% worth 2400 Divine Codes total to get both Wrath 3 and Blue Flame. Owain is a pretty tough act to follow, but Dancer Xander is up for the challenge. Our man has the Dusk Uchiwa plus dagger, which is effective against cavalry and has Hardy Bearing 3 built in. More importantly, Xander has Close Counter. In fact, you can get Dusk Uchiwa, Close Counter, and Quick Riposte 3 if you want. Otherwise, you can do Close Counter with Quick Riposte 1, 2, and 3, or you can do Close Counter with Odd Defense Wave 1, 2, and 3. Close Counter is definitely the skill to get here, anything else is up to you. Last in this path is Adrift Male Corrin. He comes with Honed Dragons, which is also pretty rare. Again, lots of dragon teams exist and they would love this skill. Luckily, it only takes up one space. If you have Hone Attack 1 and 2 or Hone Speed 1 and 2, definitely worth doing this because then you can also inherit No Follow-Up or Attack and Defense Bond. No Follow-Up with Honed Dragons would probably be best on Sothis, Adrift Female Corrin, Fallen Female Corrin, and then maybe Female Kana with her Refine. That would get you the best value, but No Follow-Up by itself is fine if you got a plan for it. That's our current 6 paths that you can spend normal divine codes on. I'm sure more will be added later on, so you can just save your codes if nothing really sticks out to you. Now we'll talk about the Ephemera 3 limited time combat manuals. These will only last till the 27th of April 2020, so if you're watching this in the future, none of this is going to be available. First up, we have our 2 5-star Ephemeral combat manuals. These cost 300 Ephemera 3 each. Spin Camilla offers the Green Egg Plus. This is another weapon that changes when it's refined. It was going to change its base effect into, after combat, if unit attacked, restore 4 HP. An interesting ability, I've seen the Green Egg Plus be used with Mystic Boost, and that's going to give a unit 10 HP after every fight. That's pretty cool. Besides that, Camilla also has Live for Bounty. This is a special skill that does nothing in combat, but in the training tower it gives you 1.5 times shards and crystals. Not exactly a big deal because leveling up to 40 is very easy in this game. It's not like other gachas where you farm leveling items primarily. If you are going to use the green egg, it doesn't hurt to pass along Live for Bounty just to have. Next we have Spring Kagero. She has the Lethal Carrot Plus dagger, which deals 10 damage on special trigger. Basically a Wodao dagger, and there is not a permanent summonal version of this dagger. I could see them adding a similar weapon just for availability in the future, but currently Kagero is the only source of it. To match Camilla, she has Live for Honor. This grants 1.5 times badges earned from the training tower. This one is a bit more valuable, at least to me. You need a lot of badges for upgrading Sacred Seals, and newer players may not have that huge stockpile of badges sitting around. The amount of badges from the training tower used to be much lower back in the day, but if you are desperate, then I suppose this skill has value. Besides the Lethal Carrot or Live for Honor, you can also get Speed and Res Bond 1, 2, and 3. This is available on 4-star Tethys though, so I would prioritize Kagero for her dagger first. Now we have the 4-star Ephemera combat manuals. These only cost 100 Ephemera 3. First is Barst. At 4 stars you can get yourself Reposition and Spur Attack 3. You could also get Knockback as well. Since these are 4-star combat manuals, they don't have their last versions of their weapons. If you want a Brave Axe Plus from Barst, you're going to have to unlock potential of the combat manual to 5 stars. Next is Shauna. She's our main source of desperation, and that's about it. You could also grab Threaten Speed 1 or Chilling Wind, because why not? Next we have Sylvia. At 4 stars, she only has Deluge Dance 2. Her main draw is going to be her Barrier Blade Plus, which grants plus 7 resistance on the enemy phase. You're going to need to 5-star however for it. Same goes for Mirror Stance 2. Technically, you could inherit all of Sylvia's kit if you use one 4-star Sylvia and one 5-star Sylvia. Fourth, we have Oscar, who does offer some good value. He has Lancebreaker 3 at 4 stars, and you can also get Rally Speed and Defense if you have Rally Speed or Rally Defense beforehand. If you 5-star Oscar, you can then get access to Spur, Speed, and Defense too. Last on the list is Soleil. At 4 stars, she can give you Blazing Wind and Drive Res 2, just needs Spur Res 1. Blazing Wind is the go-to AoE special because of its plus-shaped pattern. If you 5-star Soleil, you can then get the Fire Sweep Sword Plus. It's been a long time, but she is still our only source of that weapon. You can also get Darting Blow 3, but that skill is on so many 4-star units. That brings us to the end of our journey. I'm sure in the future more paths will be added, and every month new Ephemera options should pop up as well. Maybe we'll do shorter videos for whenever those come out. Ephemera only lasts for so long, so just spend those Ephemera divine codes before they expire. There isn't going to be one right path to go after really, because it depends on what you need. 6,000 divine codes to finish a single path is definitely expensive though, so it might be best to make sure you really want that last combat manual. Again, if you have any questions, do check out the video I made before. That one covers all the basics, and I'll link it in the description plus the end card. That's all I got for now. I'll see you guys in the next video.